Hi there, my name is Jen Bengal and I'm from Out of This World Literacy. I wanted to talk today just really quickly about Black History Month with you, share some free posters that I have available in my store and show you what those look like. My daughter is illustrating them, they're amazing. And also give you some really great book suggestions for Black History Month that we're reading at home. But before I start showing you these awesome posters and the books that I have to suggest for you, I wanted to take a minute and just talk really quickly about something that's been on my heart and that's really important to me. And I'm really nervous about sharing this with you, so please have patience and grace with me as I share this, but I wanted to give you teachers a different perspective on something. As most of you know, my son was adopted when he was 6 years old from Uganda. He is 9 now, almost 10, and he's incredible. I'm just, mom's kind of biased, but he is. And I am learning how to raise my son, being a Black son, as a white mom in America. And it's challenging, it's tough. And there are a lot of things that I'm learning. One of the things that I learned that I was doing wrong, and I wanted to help other teachers understand, because I was doing this as a teacher, I had this mindset, and I realized I had every good intention with this mindset, but I was saying things wrong. I was thinking things wrong. And every teacher that thinks this has a great perspective on their students. They're just getting the words mixed up a little bit. So what I was doing is, in my class, I would have students of color in my classroom every year, and oftentimes I would think in my mind, I don't see color. Or I would say to people, I don't see color. And what I meant when I said that was, I was coming from a good place. As a white teacher, I was saying to people, hey, I don't see color. I treat all my students equal. Every student has a fair chance in my classroom, and I just don't even pay attention to what color they are because it doesn't matter to me. But what I was missing is that it matters to the kids. And when I said, I don't see color, what I was really saying to my students was, I don't see you. I don't see you. Because who they are is their culture, their identity, the color of their people, of where they're from, their heritage. So when I was saying I don't see color, even though I meant it as a really peaceful, graceful thing to say to my students, I was actually doing a disservice to them. I was not acknowledging their culture. I was not acknowledging their race. Of course I saw color. Of course I did. It's just like when you're in a school, you don't say, well, I don't see what grade that student's in. They're just at Parkside Elementary. Of course you know what grade they're in. They're grade 2, they're grade 3. Or if they're a 3rd grade student, you don't say, well, I don't see who their teacher is. I just know they're in 3rd grade. Of course you know they're in Mrs. Bengal's class or Mr. Jones' class. It's kind of the same thing with color. And our kids see their color. Their color is who they are. It's their identity. So if we say we don't see it, we're basically saying we don't know you. We don't know who you are. We don't know your color. We don't know where you come from. So it's really, really important to see their color, to celebrate their color, the diversity that you have in your classroom, and elevate that and acknowledge that. For example, when I was reading this book to my son the other night, it's backwards, I know. It's called White Socks Only. Maybe some of you have read it to your class or to your kids at home. It's an awesome book about this little girl who doesn't understand that the sign here says whites only. And she thought, well, I have white socks on, so I can drink from this water fountain because I'm white and it's whites only. And it was this incredible story. And when I read it to Jonah the other night, and we got to the part where she realized that that's not what that sign meant, and the big man came and was hurting her and all of that, Jonah looked at me and he said, why didn't they just paint themselves white? And I thought, oh my gosh, how heartbreaking. He thought that everybody should just paint themselves white and we would be fine. And I said, Jonah, because they don't want to paint themselves white, because they are proud to have the rich black color of skin like you do. They love their beautiful skin, and so do you. And there is nothing wrong or less than them because of that skin. But some people think that that's true. And we had a really good conversation about that. And it was really powerful. So as I am being this white mom, raising this Black son, and teachers all over the world having students of color in their classroom, I just wanted to send the message, stop saying, I don't see color, because you do. And when you say I don't see color, you're saying, I don't see my students. I don't see you. I don't know you. And we don't want to send that message. So I really appreciate you listening to this, all of my friends, because it was hard for me. And I know you mean well, because I said the same thing. And so thank you for listening and just really taking it in and soaking up what I'm saying here. And I'm going to get to the other stuff I wanted to share with you, which are these awesome Black History Month posters that my daughter is illustrating. Check these out. This is Harriet Tubman, and these are all free. So if you want to show color in your classroom, especially during Black History Month, start displaying these posters in your classroom. These are all free. So she has done Harriet Tubman, and each one of these comes with 2 different things on the bottom. So you can display these throughout the month. She has Sojourner Truth. Look at how cute these are. And to get these, just go to johnbangle.com. They're at the top of my store and they're free. And I'm going to keep adding her posters. So far she has Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. She has Rosa Parks. Isn't she awesome? My daughter, she's 16 and she illustrated these. She's incredible. So she has Rosa Parks and she has Crispus Attucks. And I didn't know who Crispus Attucks was, but he was actually the first casualty in the Revolutionary War. So he was the first American to die for the freedom of our country. A Black man. Pretty cool to teach your kids that. So teach your kids about Crispus Attucks with these posters. Again, they're always going to be free. And here is Angela Davis. This is the latest one she just did. So Angela Davis is here. You can teach your kids about Angela Davis too. So to see color, to start seeing color in your classroom, to start talking about how I do see color and I want to value all the colors in my classroom, what better time to transition and make that mind shift in your classroom than during Black History Month? And I've got all of these free posters for you to do it. Super practical. You can start talking about color, start celebrating the different colors in your classroom, the different colors around the world, the diversity that we have in this beautiful country and this beautiful world that we live in. Thank you, Karen. I love that you're on here. Hi, girl. So White Sox Only, get this book. It's awesome. I just read this one to my son too. It's called Lillian's Right to Vote, and it's beautifully illustrated. It's about this woman who's like 100 years old, and every time she tries to go to vote, she gets taken back down. And she talks about how the walk to voting was hard and long and steep, but she made it. And she was, at the end, I just have to show you the last illustration because it's so beautiful at the end, where her finger touches the voting. Can you see that? Her finger finally touches the voting ballot. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. This one we're doing throughout the month, me and Jonah. We're reading 28 days of different African Americans who have shaped the moments in Black history that changed the world. So each day for the Black History Month, you can do this with your class. And even if you get it late, you can do 2 or 3 days. Each day is just a page. We're going to read this one next. I think it goes well with White Sox Only. It's called White Water. So I can't wait to read this with him and then compare this with White Sox Only. I think it'll be a really good thing to compare. And also, isn't that a great standard that we have to compare text to one text to another? This one I haven't read yet, but we're going to start. It's called The Word Collector. And the next one I have is Last Stop on Market Street, where they get off on the last stop and they talk about the bus and how they ride the bus. This one is really cute. It's called We March, and it's about talking about the march, all the marches they did and what happened. And it's really quick. It's a really quick read, but it's also really powerful in the words. So I like books that have not many words, but have a lot of powerful illustrations where you can teach the kids to read between the lines, draw conclusions, infer, and really think about how that historical fiction or that history really shaped like what we have today in our country. This one's really powerful too. It's called The Other Side by Jacqueline Woodson. It's one of my favorites. And we just read this one called Be a King. It's very beautifully illustrated, and on every page it talks about how you can be a king. I love that language. You can be a king. It's not just about what Dr. Martin Luther King did for our country and for African American people, but it's about what you can do. Like, you can be a king. And at the end, for all the girls, it says you can be a queen too, because I was kind of like, where are the queens, man? But they did that at the end. And it's beautifully illustrated with just a lot of equal rights and great information about how kids can be empowered to be kings and queens in their classrooms and in the cultures that they live in. And this one we just read, this is my last one. This is called The Listeners. This is about a little girl and her two cousins who have to, their job at night after they pick cotton all day, they have to go to the big house and eavesdrop to find out important information to share with their parents, to share with their grandparents about what is happening at the big house and what that means for their family. So this is a really good book too to read. It's called The Listeners, and it brought up a lot of good conversation with Jonah. So thank you for listening to this message, and it was hard for me to share because I too used to say I don't see color, but I do now. I know I always did, and I thought that I was saying something good by saying I don't see color, but now I realize that I was actually limiting my students and not really seeing them. So when I started actually seeing color, then I was able to celebrate all the diversity in my classroom. So if you have at least one student in your classroom that is not like as white as I am, then start saying, I see color and your color is beautiful and your color is awesome, and tell me more about you. Tell me more about your family, and stop and listen and really hear your students. Don't say I don't see color. Everybody's pink in my class. If my son came home and said, my teacher said I'm pink, I would probably not be okay with that. So make sure that you are celebrating all the different colors in your classroom, especially during Black History Month. That's all I got for you guys. I am going to go work the rest of the day on some world citizen lessons that I'm doing. I'm helping I'm writing some books about adoption and going to be sharing those with the world very soon. So get the posters at jenbengal.com. I'll be adding as Malaya keeps illustrating throughout the month. Thanks for listening, guys, and have a great weekend. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.